When a humble farmer named Tom stumbled upon an expensive-looking diamond ring while working his fields, he thought it was his lucky day. Excited by the unexpected find, he rushed home to show his wife Laura, dreaming of how this could change their simple lives. But the moment Laura saw the ring, her reaction was far from what Tom had anticipated. Instead of joy or surprise, a cold, hard expression crossed her face. Looking at the sparkling diamond, Laura turned to Tom and said, "I want a divorce." Tom was completely taken aback by Laura's reaction. Never before had the word divorce even crossed her lips, and now she just flung it at his out of seemingly nowhere. From his perspective, their marriage had been just as strong as it had ever been, and now suddenly it was not good enough anymore. Was this somehow really because of the ring he had found? He stuttily tried to ask Laura for an explanation. The least she could do was give him a good reason for this crazy shift in behavior. But Laura just walked away from him without saying a word and started to pack a small backpack with the essentials. Tom kept following her, with the carrot and ring still in his hand, demanding an explanation, getting more fierce and angry by the minute. By the end, when Laura walked out the front door to get into her car, Tom was screaming at her, blinded by anger and rage. He felt like he had just been done such an injustice by Laura's demand and lack of an explanation for it. He was shouting that he was fine with a divorce, that she would get nothing from him, and that he never wanted to see her again. Things Tom had never expected to say to the love of his life. After Laura left, Tom fell on the couch and just slouched there motionless for at least an hour. He was completely clueless as to what he was supposed to do now. His whole life revolved around being together with Laura. They were even trying for children together, and he had hoped that selling the ring he found would give them some more savings for parenthood. But all that could go in the trash now. He wanted to throw the carrot and ring through the room out of pure frustration. But he managed to stop himself as he was anything but done with this find. There was something with his ring that made his loving wife of 4 years of marriage completely flip on him without warning. And Tom was determined to find out what that was. He first broke the ring of the carrot. By the look of things, it had not been in the ground for all that long, at least not decades or something. But to really determine the true duration this piece of jewelry had been in the ground, he would need an expert to look at it. And wanted to go to the jewelry store that afternoon, but first did some research on his own. Tom further inspected the ring, but he was sure that he did not recognize it from anywhere. He guessed that it looked like a female ring, as it simply did not look like something a man would wear. And judging by all the small and big diamonds that were placed on it, it had to be valuable. What person would lose this ring and not make a maximum effort to find it back again? It just did not make sense to him. And it was also not like somebody would just walk through the spot where he was growing his carrots. His garden was small, but it was fenced off. He owned this property for about 10 years by now, so the ring could also not belong to a previous owner. As Tom was very sure, the ring had not been in the ground for all that time. Tom realized that he was not going to figure out the truth about the ring by himself. His wife Laura clearly knew something he did not, or at least she suspected something that he was oblivious to. Something so bad that it motivated her to demand a divorce from him. He needed help, and the only place he could think to start was the jewelry store. The city that Tom and Laura lived in was small and relatively rural. There was only one small jewelry store in town, as the people here did not really care about that stuff. What was sold most by far were wedding rings, seeing as the town still held a lot of traditional values. And of those values, marriage was one of the biggest ones. Another reason why the ask for a divorce hurt Tom so much. Tom stepped into the only jeweler's shop in town, the bell above the door tinkling in the unusual quiet. He clutched the ring tightly in his palm, its facets catching the sparse light of the shop. The air was thick with anticipation as he approached the counter, ready to unveil the mysterious find that had so abruptly turned his life upside down. The jeweler, an elderly man with eyes honed by years of examining precious stones, leaned in closely as Tom presented the ring. His brow furrowed in surprise, a reaction that deepened Tom's intrigue. "Earlier today, a woman asked about this very ring," the jeweler said, his voice a blend of confusion and curiosity. Tom's heart skipped a beat, the revelation adding a new layer to the mystery. Tom's mind raced as he processed the jeweler's words. A woman? And not Laura? The thought spiraled through his mind like a leaf caught in a whirlwind. Who could this woman be, and how did she connect to the ring that lay innocently in his dirt-stained hand? The questions multiplied, tangling like threads in a loom. He prodded for more details, but the jeweler could only shrug, his knowledge as limited as the sparse lighting in the room. Tom left the store with the ring still firmly in his grasp, the weight of unanswered questions pressing heavily on his shoulders. The jeweler's revelation had opened a door, but it led only to a hallway of shadows and speculation. Determined to unravel the enigma, Tom pressed the jeweler about the ring's possible origins. Could it be a local piece, or had it journeyed from afar? Every answer seemed to lead to another question, each more perplexing than the last. Tom's desire for understanding drove him forward, even as the path ahead grew more obscured. "I must confess, I don't immediately recognize this ring," the jeweler admitted, peering over his glasses at the intricate piece. Tom's heart sank a little more with each word. The hope for a straightforward answer dissolved, leaving him floating in a sea of uncertainty. The ring's past remained as concealed as a treasure in a sunken ship, just out of reach in the murky depths of history. Tom's frustration simmered as the jeweler shuffled through his memories, finding no match for the ring. Each shrug from the jeweler piled onto Tom's confusion, turning it into a tangled knot of questions. The ring, gleaming under the shop's light, seemed to mock his quest for answers, its sparkling surface hiding a past too elusive to grasp. As the jeweler examined the ring more closely, his expression shifted from bafflement to recognition. "Ah, these intricate patterns," he murmured, tracing the delicate engravings. "This speaks of high craftsmanship and considerable value." Tom leaned in, his eyes catching the glimmer of hope in the jeweler's words. The ring's design was a clue, a fragment of the story he was so desperate to piece together. Together, Tom and the jeweler pondered the ring's potential history. Perhaps it was a custom piece, or maybe even part of an exclusive collection, the jeweler speculated. Tom listened intently, each hypothesis adding another piece to the jigsaw puzzle of the ring's origins. Yet, with each new piece, the overall picture remained frustratingly incomplete and out of focus. "I could offer a fair price for this," the jeweler finally said, breaking the silence. Tom hesitated, the temptation of immediate resolution flickering in his mind. But his desire for the truth, for understanding the ring's mysterious journey to his farm, outweighed the lure of monetary gain. He politely declined, the ring remaining firmly in his grasp as he stepped back into the enigma. A flicker of recognition crossed the jeweler's face. "Ah, I recall now. This design," he said, pointing to the intricate patterns, "and these diamonds, they're similar to a ring I sold years ago." Tom's pulse quickened. This connection to the past was a significant breakthrough, a beam of light in the dark mystery that surrounded the glittering piece in his hand. "Considering its condition, this ring hasn't been buried for long," the jeweler observed, examining the minimal signs of wear. Tom nodded, his thoughts swirling. If the ring had not spent decades underground, then how and why did it end up buried in his farm? Each new revelation seemed to add another layer to the puzzle, deepening the enigma surrounding the ring's recent past. "How did such a valuable piece end up in a farmer's field?" the jeweler mused aloud. Tom shrugged, equally baffled. They delved into speculations, from accidental loss to deliberate concealment. The theories were as varied as they were intriguing, but none seemed to fit perfectly with the circumstances that led the ring to Tom's unassuming patch of land. Despite the jeweler's persuasive argument for a sale, Tom remained steadfast. "I need to find out more," he insisted, his voice firm. The story behind the ring, its journey from a jewelry store to being buried in his garden, held more value to him than any price tag. With a polite but resolute shake of his head, Tom reaffirmed his quest for the truth. As Tom prepared to leave, his eyes caught the glint of a security camera in the corner of the store. A sudden thought struck him. Could the camera hold clues to the ring's mysterious journey? His heart raced at the possibility. This could be the key to unraveling the enigma that had upended his life. With a mix of persuasion and earnest appeal, Tom convinced the jeweler to grant him access to the store's security footage. It was a long shot, but Tom clung to the hope that the camera might have captured something, anything that could shed light on the ring's journey. The jeweler, moved by Tom's desperation, reluctantly agreed, unlocking a new avenue of inquiry in this unfolding mystery. Tom sat in the dimly lit back room, the flickering screen of the security footage illuminating his determined face. He meticulously scanned through days of recordings, his eyes searching for any clue related to the ring. Each frame was a window to the past, potentially holding the key to unraveling the mystery that had consumed his thoughts. As he sifted through the footage, Tom's attention snapped to a woman on the screen. She was a stranger to him, her features not matching anyone he knew, yet something about her struck a chord of unease. He leaned closer, studying her movements, trying to grasp why this unfamiliar face felt oddly unsettling. The woman carried a bag, one strikingly similar to one Laura frequently used. Tom's breath hitched at the sight. The coincidence was too strong to ignore, a thread in the web of mystery that he felt compelled to follow. Was it merely a chance resemblance, or did it signify a deeper connection to Laura, one that he had not anticipated? His heart pounding, Tom continued to watch as the footage rolled on. Then, there it was, a moment that turned his blood cold. The same woman approached and got into Laura's car. The revelation hit Tom like a physical blow, the implications swirling in his mind like a maelstrom. This connection to Laura was more than just a coincidence. It was a direct link to his life. The connection between Laura and the mysterious woman sent a chill down Tom's spine. His mind raced with a torrent of questions, each more perplexing than the last. How did Laura fit into this enigmatic puzzle? The link, as startling as it was, only served to deepen the mystery that enshrouded the ring and now his very marriage. With a newfound determination, Tom resolved to uncover the truth. He needed to find Laura and this unknown woman, to confront them about the unsettling revelations. The need for answers drove him forward, setting in motion a plan that he hoped would unravel the tangled web of secrets and lies. Realizing the magnitude of his quest, Tom reached out to his friends for help. He explained his situation, his voice tinged with urgency. His friends, knowing Tom's character and the depth of his plight, agreed to aid him. Together, they began a concerted effort to locate Laura and the mysterious woman, each friend a piece in the puzzle-solving team. The breakthrough came when one of Tom's friends called him with a crucial lead. "I've seen Laura's car," his friend reported, his voice a mix of excitement and concern. "It's parked in a driveway I've never seen before." This information was like a beacon in the fog for Tom, guiding him toward a destination laden with potential answers. Guided by his friend's lead, Tom found himself driving towards the unfamiliar location. Laura's car, unmistakable and out of place, sat in the driveway of a house he had never seen before. His heart raced with a cocktail of emotions, hope, fear, and a burning desire for the truth. This clue could be the key to unlocking the mystery that had upended his life. As Tom stood before the house, a mix of apprehension and determination churned within him. With each breath, he readied himself to face whatever truths the house might reveal. Tom approached the open door with caution, his senses heightened. He crossed the threshold quietly, trying to remain as inconspicuous as a shadow. The silence of the house enveloped him, a stark contrast to the turmoil of thoughts and emotions swirling within. With each stealthy step, he prepared himself for any eventualities that might arise from this bold intrusion. The interior of the house seemed abandoned, the rooms echoing with the quiet emptiness of a forgotten space. But something felt off to Tom, a sense that the house was not as deserted as it appeared. Driven by a compulsion to uncover the truth, he decided to delve deeper, each step taking him further into the unknown. Tom began his ascent up the stairs, the creak of each step amplifying the tension building inside him. He was acutely aware of the slightest sounds, each one a potential harbinger of the revelations that lay ahead. At the top of the stairs, Tom discovered a door slightly ajar. Muffled voices seeped through the narrow opening, their tones indistinct yet undeniably human. The sound beckoned him, a siren's call urging him to edge closer and eavesdrop. Hidden in the shadows, Tom listened as Laura's voice intertwined with that of an unknown woman. Their conversation, laced with urgency, spoke of a plan that sent shivers down Tom's spine. The words were cryptic, yet their implications were clear enough to shock him to his core. Tom's heart sank as he recognized Laura's distinct voice, each familiar tone a stab of betrayal. The conversation flowed around him, a river of words that he couldn't fully grasp yet knew were pivotal. With each sentence, the pain of unrecognized truths gnawed at him. As he absorbed their words, Tom began to assemble fragments of understanding. The conversation, though cryptic, sheds light on certain aspects of the mystery enveloping the ring and Laura's actions. However, the identity of the other woman and her role in this unfolding drama remained an enigma. Part of the puzzle lay solved in his hands, while the rest hovered just out of reach. He needed time and space to process the revelations, untangle his thoughts and emotions, and plan his next course of action in the face of these unsettling discoveries. Tom sat in the solitude of his car, replaying the conversation in his head. Each word, each inflection was a piece of the puzzle, potentially linking to Laura's abrupt demand for a divorce. The connections were not yet clear, but the outlines were beginning to take shape. The more he thought, the more the pieces of the puzzle seemed to align, yet the full picture remained elusive. As Tom drove away, his mind churned with conflicting thoughts. Laura's actions, once familiar and predictable, now seemed shrouded in mystery. The ring, a simple object unearthed from the earth, had become the center of a perplexing puzzle. In need of guidance, Tom dialed a trusted friend. As he recounted the day's events and his swirling suspicions, his voice was laden with a mix of confusion and desperation. This friend had always been a beacon of reason in times of turmoil, and Tom hoped that sharing his burden might shed some light on the dark path he found himself treading. Tom's friend listened intently, offering a perspective that was both comforting and grounded in logic. "Consider all possibilities," he advised, suggesting potential explanations for Laura's actions. He urged Tom to tread carefully, to not let emotions cloud his judgment. This outside viewpoint provided a semblance of clarity in the fog of Tom's troubled thoughts, giving him pause in his quest for the truth. The conversation left Tom grappling with a new wave of doubts. Should he confront Laura directly with his findings, or continue seeking concrete evidence? Each option carried its own risks and uncertainties. Tom's mind was a battleground of indecision, each strategy presenting a different set of outcomes, none without potential consequences to their already strained relationship. Each step forward was hesitant, filled with the anxiety of what might lie ahead. This uncertainty, this absence of clear direction, was becoming a burden too heavy to bear in silence. Tom drove back to his farm, the familiar landscape providing a brief escape from his tangled thoughts. He walked through the fields, the rustling of the crops offering a soothing rhythm to his troubled mind. This moment of respite amidst the greenery and open sky allowed him to breathe, to temporarily set aside the web of mysteries that had ensnared his life. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Tom sat on the edge of his porch. He reflected on his relationship with Laura, sifting through memories for any sign he might have missed. Determined to uncover more truths, Tom set out on an unplanned visit to a place he associated with Laura. His heart was heavy with a mix of apprehension and resolve as he approached the location. This impromptu journey was driven by a need for answers, for anything that might shed light on the shadowy corners of Laura's life that had remained hidden from him. At the location, Tom's keen eyes began to pick up subtle clues, each hinting at aspects of Laura's life that were previously unknown to him. These discoveries, small and seemingly insignificant on their own, collectively began to form a clearer picture. Each clue was a piece of the puzzle, illuminating parts of Laura's secret life that had been shrouded in darkness. Later, Tom found himself gazing at the ring again. Its once bright sparkle now seemed to echo the mysteries and secrets it represented. The ring, a simple object found in the earth, had become the catalyst for a journey into the unknown, a journey that had revealed more questions than answers about his life and the woman he thought he knew. Throughout the night, Tom lay awake, his mind a turbulent sea of thoughts. He tossed and turned, trying to piece together the fragmented truth that had been slowly unraveling before him. The darkness of the room mirrored the obscurity of the situation he found himself in, each hour passing with little rest and no respite from his racing thoughts. As dawn broke, casting a new light on a sleep-deprived world, Tom found within himself a renewed resolve. He decided it was time to face Laura, to demand the truth, no matter how painful it might be. With the first rays of the morning sun, Tom's determination solidified, readying him for the confrontation that lay ahead. Tom confronted Laura, his voice a mix of hurt and demand. The air was thick with tension as he asked the questions that had haunted him. His emotions were a whirlwind, swirling with confusion, betrayal, and the desperate need for clarity. Laura, unable to evade the truth any longer, confessed. The ring he had found was hers, but not from him. It was a forgotten relic from a past she had kept hidden. Years ago, before meeting Tom, she had been engaged to another man. That relationship had ended abruptly, but the memories and the ring had never truly disappeared. Seeing the ring again had shaken something loose inside her. It reminded her of a time when she had been someone else, chasing dreams she never shared with Tom. She realized then that the life they built together, though steady and loving, wasn't where her heart was anymore. The ring hadn't just unearthed old jewelry, it had unearthed old feelings and regrets. She admitted she had been planning to leave for some time, but hadn't found the courage until now. The discovery of the ring, like fate whispering in her ear, pushed her to make a decision she had been avoiding for too long. In the wake of the revelations, Tom and Laura agreed to a divorce. Laura, acknowledging her dishonesty, agreed to a fair settlement. Tom grappled with the aftermath, confused, hurt, and betrayed. He mourned the loss of not just a partner, but the future they had once imagined together. In a symbolic act of closure, Tom sold the ring. Letting it go wasn't just about money. It was about healing, about leaving behind the weight of secrets and starting fresh. With the ring gone and his marriage ended, Tom turned toward a future still uncertain but full of new possibilities. The past would always be a part of him, but it wouldn't define him.